Okay, so we were discussing nonlinear functions. Okay, if a graph is not a straight line, we say it is nonlinear. Okay, that's one thing. If it is not a straight line, it is nonlinear. But now, how is it a nonlinear function? One, you must not be straight. Two, each domain must have exactly one range for you to be nonlinear function. So these are two things. Not straight, each domain must have exactly one range. So all these graphs are nonlinear functions. All of them. This is not a straight line. This is many straight lines put together. So it's not a straight line. Okay? This is one straight line, two straight line, like that. So this is not linear. This is non-linear, like that. Okay? So draw these examples. All right. And if you do the vertical test, it passes the vertical test. So that's also another way to know if a nonlinear graph is a function. It must pass the vertical test. Here, write it. It must also pass the vertical line test. Okay, so those are three different ways you should know how to define a nonlinear function. Okay. All right. How do you know graph is a function? It can be linear or nonlinear. When it is linear, it has to be horizontal, diagonal up, or diagonal down. Horizontal, diagonal up, diagonal down. Okay? But most important, it must pass the vertical line test, and one domain must have exactly one range. So, this is what tells you if it is a function. One domain must have exactly one range. Okay? So, you will see in this lesson, they will give you an equation and they will give you graphs. Then they will ask you which of these graphs is represented by this equation. Already you should know here your slope is 0 because you don't see the x. So this is y equals to 0x plus 9. Your y-intercept is 9. This is your y-intercept. Y-intercept. And this is your slope. And if your slope is 0, it means your line should be horizontal. And which graph is horizontal? There. This one is the answer to this question. And also, how do you know your y-intercept is 9? This is the only line that crosses at 9. Every other one does not. This one crosses at 0. This one crosses at -4. This one crosses at +3. And please label y and x on your graph. And 0. Make sure you put it over there. I like putting it over there. Okay? So that's how I checked. I didn't even have to look at these. I just looked at the equation. When I looked at the equation, I didn't see the x, so that meant my slope is 0. And then my y-intercept is 9. And then I also knew if x is not there, then that means this is a horizontal line. I told you in math, you have to work strategically. Not everything you need to solve. You have to be able to eliminate just by looking. Okay, now let's look at this example. This is y equals to -3x plus 3. I need to look on my graph where I have +3 on the y-axis. X y, x, x, y, 0. So my y-intercept is positive 3. And that means where my graph and the y are meeting, they should meet at positive 3. This one is positive 5. So this is not an answer. There, positive 3. But I cannot assume this is it. I have to check this other one. 1. Good. This is 1. So this is not my graph. Now, my slope is negative. That means it is going down. There, this graph is going down. So that's why this is my answer. So this graph is my answer. 1, my slope is negative. So my line should go down. And then my graph should cross the y-axis at positive 3, which it is doing over here. Okay? Let's do this one. I need to look for a positive graph because my slope is positive. So all of them are positive. Then I need to look for my y-intercept being negative 4. This is negative 3, so this is not. This is positive 4. This is not. This is negative 4, so this is my graph. Okay? My slope is positive because my line is going up. My y-intercept is negative 4 because my graph is crossing the y-axis at negative 4. Label your graph x, y, 0, x, y, 0. Okay, mark this wrong. Mark this wrong, like that. Okay. All right. They will also give you a table and ask you what is the rate of change. Rate of change means slope. And what is the y-intercept? So we have done different ways of us. We've done this before. We've done this so many times. So I will work with these two. It doesn't matter, pick any two. But I already know this is my y-intercept. When you have a table, you look for the one with 0. So my y-intercept is negative 6 or 0, negative 6. See? When x is 0, that number that is with 0 of x, that is your y-intercept. Okay? I don't even need to solve it just by looking at my table. Now I need to do slope. I pick any two. I can choose these two, this. It doesn't matter. So me, I will choose these two. Or I will choose, it doesn't matter. I'll choose these two. I'll choose this one. So this is my y1. This is my x1. x2, y2. So I write slope equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. 20 minus negative 14 over negative 13 minus 4. This is 34 over negative 17. And this should be negative 2. Okay, so my rate of change is negative 2. That's your answer. And this is your answer here. Okay? Khalas. Now here, we have to solve. Why? because there is no 0 on x. So we have to find slope. So I will use positive numbers. Easier to use positive numbers. So I will do this one and this one. So this is my y2, this is my y1, this is my x2, this is my x1. Slope equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. 56 minus 17.5 over 14 minus 3. 14 minus 3 is 11. 56 minus 17.5. 56 minus 17.5. 38.5. 38.5 divide 11. 7 over 2. Simply change this to a decimal. That will be 3.5. So here your rate of change is 3 5/10. Okay? You can also write it as a mixed fraction. 2 goes here 3 times, so this is 3.5. Okay? All right. Now you need to find your y-intercept. 2 ways. Either you do point-slope form or you do slope-intercept form. It's up to you. Okay? So let's do point-slope form. So point-slope form, it is y minus y1 equals m bracket x minus x1. And which point will I use? 14,56. Okay, so y minus 56 equals 3.5 x minus 14. Y minus 56 equals 3.5x, and 3.5 times 14, 3.5 times negative 14 times negative 14 is negative 49. So minus 49, okay? Because you do distributive property. Okay, and you draw your bridge, plus 56, plus 56. This house goes away. Y equals to 3.5x. And then you do negative 49 plus 56. That should give you 7. Plus 7. So this is your y-intercept. So your y-intercept is 7 or 0,7. Okay? If you don't want to do the point slope method, you can do the slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept. So what can you do? You will do y equals to mx plus b. You choose whichever point you want. I'm going to use whole numbers. It is easier to use whole numbers. 14,56. If I have a choice, I will choose the whole number. If I don't have a choice, then I don't have a choice. I'll use what the question has given me. My y, this is my x, this is my y. My y is 56. My slope is 3.5. My x is 14 plus b. Now we do 3.5 times 14. 3.5 times 14, that should give me 49. Okay. So that's 49 plus b equals to 56. Then I draw my bridge. I subtract 49 on both sides. Okay. This house goes away. This becomes 7. So 7 equals to B. And this 7 is the same one we found there. See? It is positive here. It is also positive there. So it's up to you if you want to do point slope or if you want to do slope intercept form. You make that decision by yourself. Okay? All right. Then they will give you equations. Then they will tell you to state the rate of change. So rate of change means just say what is the slope and you say the y-intercept. So two things they want from you. Now here, remember, slope is the number with x together with the sign. So here my slope is 15. There is no y-intercept. There is nothing being added, so that means it is 0. My y-intercept is 0 or 0, 0. My rate of change is 15. My slope is 6 8/10. Okay. My y-intercept is 3 25/100 or 0, 3 25/100. My slope here, there is no number with x. I will put it. This becomes y equals -1x minus 9. My slope, my y-intercept. My rate of change is -1. My y-intercept is -9 or 0, -9. Okay. Here, my slope is 4/7. My y-intercept is -5.2 or 0, -5.2. Okay. My rate of change is 8. My y-intercept is 12 or 0, 12. My rate of change is -5. And then my y-intercept is -125 or 0, -1. Make sure you write clearly. Okay. And just like that. Okay, so if they give you an equation, you should know how to get the y-intercept, how to get the slope, all that. That means you must know how to read carefully. You have to. You must make sure you are reading carefully. Because if you miss the negative, it is 0. That means you got wrong. Okay? All right. They will give you a graph and they will ask you for the rate of change. That means they're asking you for the slope and they're asking you for the y-intercept. Y-intercept, just go to the graph. This one is crossing where? This one looks like it is in the middle. So you cannot tell. If it is in the middle and you don't know what that number is, you have to solve it. This one, the y-intercept is clear. It is 5. 5 or -5? -5. So you just write here -5 or 0, -5. So that's the answer for this one, for the y-intercept. Here, the y-intercept is at -3. Okay? So -3 or 0, -3. So since this one I don't know, I have to solve. So what will I do? I'll find 2 points. So I can find so many points on my graph. Point 1. There is a point here. There is a point there. There's a point here. There's a point here. A point there. Okay. That one. This one. Why? I don't know, this line looks weird because it's keeping every 2, so it's saying this is the y-intercept. See, that's how I looked at it. Every 2 boxes. So therefore I know my y-intercept, it is -6. So I don't need to calculate. So it is -6 or 0, -6. Okay. But if I didn't know, then I will calculate using point slope or slope intercept form. Then I can do my formula. I don't like doing rise over run because I can make a mistake. But if you are confident with rise over run, then you do rise over run. So I am going to do, since I know it is 0, -6, then I'm going to use this one, -3, 0. -3, 0. I can choose either one, 4, 2. I mean -4, 2. Or 5, -5, 4. Or, which one is this one? 6, 6. Okay? Doesn't matter. So now, this is x1, y1, x2, y2. And you do your slope. Slope equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. y2 is 0 minus -6 over -3 minus 0. 0 plus, this becomes plus, so that is 0 plus 6 and -3 minus 0. Then that becomes 6 over -3, which is -2. How do I know I'm correct? Because my line is going down and my slope is -2. So then I write here my rate of change is just -2. And then here, my slope is 0. How did I know my slope is 0? Because my line is horizontal. I don't need to calculate, but I can calculate if I want. I'll choose this point. I'll choose on the positive side. I'll choose this one. 2, -5, and 6, -5. 2, -5, and 6, -5. x1, y1, x2, y2. Slope equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. -5 minus -5 over 6 minus 2. -5, this becomes plus. -5 plus 5 is 0 over 4. 0 divided 4 is 0. So that is why my rate of change is 0. But this is wasting too much time. As long as you see horizontal, you should know your slope is 0. Now here your slope should be positive. Why? Because your line is going up. Please don't forget to label. You have to label x and y. Okay. X and y and 0. So we already found our y-intercept. So we just need to calculate our slope. So choosing the points is very important. That is the most important part of this exercise. If you don't know how to choose the points on a graph, Your life will be very miserable. This is 0, -3, and I'm trying to find another one. Here. This is 3, 3. Okay. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Slope equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. y2 is -3. No. y2 is 3. It's not -3. y2 is 3 minus -3 over 3 minus 0. This becomes plus. 3 plus 3 is 6. And 3 minus 0 is 3. 6 divided 3 is 2. My answer is positive. That's how I know I am correct. My rate of change is 2. Class. So if you've been given a graph, the very most important is you need to know how to get the points. If you choose the wrong points, that will be the end of you and the question. The important part is you choose the correct points and you label correctly and you use your formula correctly. When you write the wrong formula, that means everything else is wrong. So, choosing the points, you have to choose the one that line is meeting. 3 lines are meeting, the horizontal, the vertical, and your diagonal. 3 of them have to meet at one corner. Okay? Choosing points is a 3rd grade skill. It's not an 8th grade skill. You learned that in grade 3. So you have to remember. You cannot forget what you're being taught. Okay. So you did from points. Did you do from points? Or from a table? Yes. You did from a table. Then they gave you equations. Then they gave you a graph. Now you also need to know from a story. You must know from a story. Okay? So, given the following situation, state the rate of change and the y-intercept. So you must know how to read. I will not be there to read for you. Okay, the cost of a kilogram. That means 1 kilogram is 750 AD. I don't see any number. That means my y-intercept is 0. For every kilogram, I will pay 750. So my slope is 750 AED. Class. A mobile phone tariff charges a fixed cost. This is vocabulary for y-intercept. And, oh no. See, you have to finish reading. You must finish reading. Don't be like me. A mobile phone tariff charges a fixed cost of 5 AD per month. So 5 AD per month. That is your slope. This one here is your slope. Plus, you're adding. So this equation is y equals to 5x plus 180, like that. So this is your y-intercept. Okay. Or did I read wrongly? No, I was correct the very first time. This is a lie. I was correct the very first time. Yes, fixed cost means y-intercept. So this equation is 180x plus 5. There, like that. So fixed cost means Fixed cost means y-intercept. 180 for each. For each means slope, because I saw each. So read. Don't make a mistake of just reading the first sentence and deciding. No. Read everything and then you decide. Don't be like Miss Lillian. So then here your rate of change is the number with x, the coefficient of x, which is 180. It has a unit. You need to put it. And then your y-intercept is 5 AD. According to your question. All right. Aisha's electricity bill is made up of a daily fee plus a charge for the amount of kilowatts used. The fee is 12 fills per day, and the charge is 15 fills for every. 15 fills for every is your slope. I saw the word fee. This is my y-intercept. Okay? Because of this word fee. Don't worry about this per. So I want to write my slope. I want to write my equation. 15 fields is written as 15 hundredths. 12 fields is written as 12 hundredths. So my equation is y equals 15x plus 12 hundredths, like that. So my slope is 15 AD, because it is fields, and my y-intercept is AD. Fields, the unit is AD, like that. And when you see fields, you have to write 0 here and the 2 numbers after. The minute you see fields, it is 0 point that number. Okay? Fields is a decimal. It is not a whole dirham. So you have to remember that also. If you just write 15, you will be wrong. You must write 0 point, because this is what shows fields. Okay. And you must know how to read. Okay? I know I saw the word per here, but because it said the fee, this word, the fee, is what made me know this is the y-intercept. Let's do this one. Okay? Mohammed, also you must know whether it is positive or negative. Okay? Here you're being charged. No one can charge you negative numbers. If you're paying, it has to be positive numbers. Also here, it is a bill. That means you're paying somebody money. You can never give somebody negative money. Okay. Mohammed had 49,250 dirhams in his account. And every month he pays off. Pays off is negative, because this money will be reducing. His credit card, 2,562 dirhams. So my equation will be y equals, this is my slope because he's paying every month. So negative 2,562 x, and this was already in his account, so it is positive 49,250. So you must know how to read. When you read, you will know whether your slope is negative or positive. You will also know whether your y-intercept is negative or positive. So according to this story, our slope is negative, but our y-intercept is positive. How did I know? Muhammad had. So that means it is there in his account. So it is a positive number. So my y-intercept is 49,250 AED. If your question has given you units, you must use the units. And then your slope is negative 2,562 AED. How did I know it was negative? Because I am paying off. So that means every month I am going to be removing some money. Okay, so there's a comma here. There you go. And these are your answers. Okay. Now, here are words that mean rate of change. We have just said rate of change is another way of you saying slope. So if you see these words in your sentence and you read carefully, then you know this is slope. And when you see these words in your sentence, then if you see daily fee, also daily fee. These two words together make it a y-intercept. Okay? This word by itself, slope. But these words together, okay, y-intercept. Now let's read this. Given the following situation, state the slope, explain what it represents. State the y-intercept and explain what it represents. You'll be given a story, you will read it, you will determine what is the slope and what is the y-intercept. You will say what it means. The function y equals to 5x plus 20. Find the total cost AD in y of borrowing a book at a local library per week, x. My y-intercept is 20 AED because we are paying. What does it represent? The deposit or the fee for being a member. For being a member in the library, in the library, being a member of the library, Okay? For you to be a member of this, you have to give them 20 dirham first. Without this 20 dirham, you cannot take a book, you cannot do anything at the library. So you pay the 20 dirham, they give you a card. This card, you use it to enter the library. Okay? What is your rate of change? 5 dirham for every week. So the rate of change is 5 AED. It represents the amount I have to pay every week. Okay? It is the amount I have to pay every week. Kalas. And there, you've explained. You have stated, you've explained. You have stated, you've explained. Okay. Now, you will be asked about discrete and continuous data. You'll be given a question, they will ask you, is this data discrete? Is this data continuous? A very important question you should ask yourself. You look at the title on the x-axis. The title on the x-axis is the one that tells you whether your data is discrete or whether your data is continuous. As you're reading this title on the x-axis, you ask yourself, can I use a fraction or decimal on this x-axis with this title? If you say no, then the data is discrete. If you say yes, then the data is continuous. The question is, can this title be a fraction? Can this title be a decimal? If you say yes, it is continuous. If you say no, it is discrete. Now, which titles do you see and you say no? Number of people. People can never be a decimal. Animals can never be a decimal. You cannot say, give me half a cat. No. You have to buy a whole cat. Okay? Or a whole dog. Or a whole cow. Or a whole goat. Number of buses. If you are buying buses, or if you are renting buses, you cannot say, give me half a bus. No. You can only rent a whole bus. When you're buying books, you can't buy half a book. La. Number of sandwiches. Okay? Number of tickets. You can't tell them, cut this ticket in half and then sell me. No. You have to buy a whole ticket. Okay? So, all these are examples of discrete data, because I cannot do a half, a third, a quarter like this. And when you're graphing discrete data, another way of you knowing, you have discrete data, your graph will just be dots like this. They will not be connected. The points will not be joined. It will just be dots. Just like that. Either going up or going down like that. Or horizontal like this. Okay? So, it can either be going up, down, or horizontal. But they will not be joined. There will be a space between your data points. So if there is space between your data points, it is discrete. If it is a solid line, so y, 0, and x, if you have a solid line like this, your dots have been joined, yes? Or it is going down like this. As long as your dots have been joined by a solid line, then it is continuous. It can also be horizontal. It depends with the situation. Now, what titles do you see on your x-axis that tells you you have continuous data? Volume. Can you buy 100 milliliter of water? Yes. 150 milliliter? Yes. 155 milliliter? Yes. If you're buying petrol, you're buying volume, not in a bottle or in a cup or as long as it's just measured, okay? As long as it's just measured in using a pipe, then it is continuous. Weight. I can buy 1 kilogram of apples, 1 kilogram of potatoes, 1 kilogram of meat, half a kilogram of meat, a third kilogram of meat, 3/4 kilogram of meat. As long as I can buy meat, potatoes, things like this, using these units, and I can do half a kilogram, a third a kilogram, a quarter, then it is continuous. Distance.